Welcome back, YCN Sports Talk. Jeremy Stout, Dustin Ribellini in studio, and we are going to the NFC side of the bracket, talking Patriots and Steelers earlier. Now we'll get over to the red hot and visiting Packers going to Atlanta, and Matt Ryan getting his second career playoff win, kind of getting that monkey off his back, maybe some say, but maybe some people will say, is this the bigger game for him? So we'll talk about whose legacy it matters to more, but just dominating the Seattle defense. That defense we talked about is not the same as it's been, but still give credit to Matt Ryan.
We were sitting here talking to Jeremy last week in these very seats, and we were talking about the weapons that the Falcons have. And you saw it on full display on Saturday. Julio Jones did have a touchdown early, but he got hurt, got banged up, missed a lot of the second half. Who stepped up? Devontae Freeman.
Right.
Big catches down the stretch, couple touchdowns. Tevin Coleman with a receiving touchdown, Mohamed Sanu with a late touchdown. You saw on full display the weapons of the Falcons. This is what we talked about last week. This offense is not a one-man show. And you could see Matt Ryan carving up a granted beleaguered Seattle defense, but give them credit. They don't rely on Julio Jones anymore, and this offense right now looks very scary.
Right, and I'm glad that you pointed that out, because the weapons that they have, what does a depleted secondary of the Green Bay Packers, if you're game planning for this Falcons offense, what do you have to do? Because you're right, Tevin Coleman and Taylor Gabriel are two guys that have not come out of nowhere, but they've stepped up their play completely this year. And so Julio Jones isn't that number one factor that he needs to be. Is there any way you play a zone defense? Do you kind of man-to-man or a man zone? I mean, I know they're going to be making a lot of money in Green Bay to come up with a defensive game plan, but is there any hope for this team, or is it just a shootout and Aaron Rodgers hopefully wins it 35-33 or something?
The first thing I do is pray,
Right.
But it's going to be a lot of points scored in this game. We know that. If you're the Packers, I think you got to try to slow down the run game. We saw last week Ezekiel Elliott had good numbers, but it never felt like he was dominating that football game.
Right.
Granted, the Cowboys did get down early, so they had to throw a lot, but they kind of made the Cowboys get into that throwing mode. Sure, Prescott brought him back. So I think against the Falcons, in the Dome especially, you have to try to shut down the run game. Make Matt Ryan one-dimensional, because we did see Micah Hyde with a nice interception last week. They did get some pressure on Prescott. Your only hope is to make this team more one-dimensional, because if they have the run game around 100 yards and the pass game going, they're tough to stop.
Yeah, because that Packers defense can stop the run a little bit. And one part of the Packers game that's very underrated, or maybe it's not underrated, but their offensive line. Very good. They give Rodgers some time, and also, not that he needs the time, because he'll escape and he'll create plays on his own.
We saw that last week.
Yeah, and you've been on the Aaron Rodgers bandwagon, rightfully so, for the 7 weeks, and you're a Giants fan, so you saw it firsthand. This game, who is it more important to? Obviously, it's very important for both of them to get to the Super Bowl, but if one of these players loses, which is it worse for? Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like kind of their
quarterbacks,
legacy?
you're saying.
Quarterbacks, yes.
I think it's more important for Matt Ryan. Rodgers has been there. He's got the Super Bowl. He's had a lot of success with the Packers. Sure, they haven't won as many playoff games as people thought, but Aaron Rodgers' stats speak for themselves.
Right.
Matt Ryan has been kind of an up-and-down quarterback all season. Now, he got the big win, or all career, sorry. He got the big win last week, but it doesn't take the monkey off his back. I'm not saying if they lose, he's a total bust and his career is a failure, but Rodgers has been there before. He's got the Super Bowl MVP. I think this is bigger for Matt Ryan. He's got to get over that next hump.
Okay, and I'm going to take a different angle, because I think it's bigger for Aaron Rodgers, because right now, I agree, Aaron Rodgers, phenomenal career, and a lot of people are saying he's the best right now, which he probably is, but does he want to enter that equation to being maybe one of the best ever? So to win another Super Bowl, I think, or get to the Super Bowl, would be huge. Obviously, he has plenty of years left. I think he's 33 years old right now, so he probably has 3 or 4 good years and then 2 or 3 more years left. So I think it's going to be interesting to see if Rodgers can take that step and say, he won in, 2011, I believe. So it's been a while, and that's what some of the people say who say, well, he hasn't been to the Super Bowl. He's only won 1 Super Bowl. So I think it would be for his legacy. But you're right, Matt Ryan really kind of showed people what he's about. Because even though that Seattle team isn't great, and I know Earl Thomas was hurt, and I know they were banged up, and they were on the road, but we got to give credit where credit is due. Both these quarterbacks are playing at a high level right now.
Oh, both these quarterbacks are playing phenomenal right now, really throwing the ball, spreading it around, too. And that's the thing I like is you see the Falcons and Packers, 6, 7, 8 different receivers each. It's going to be a great game. It's going to be a lot of points scored. Again, we'll get into our picks in the last segment. But it should be another one, like last week's Packers game. It should be fun to watch.
Yeah, and it's going to be probably high scoring right now. I think the total's at 60 right now in Vegas.
Like that,
it's going to be a high scoring one in the Georgia Dome.
The last game in the Georgia Dome,
exactly,
by the way.
That's right. And then they're building right next door? They got a new stadium ready to go for next year. So we're going to take our final break. When we come back, we will talk a little NBA. Celtics kind of hitting the halfway point. And then we'll also, as Dustin mentioned, get into our picks as the final segment. You're watching YCN Sports Talk.